Welcome to Almost Live. I'm your host, Shane Phillips, and I'm here with Toby Simpson from Striver and David McKenzie from McKenzie Jones. And we're talking about the CV. Is it relevant? Is it still working? And in fact, people are applying for jobs. They're not getting an interview. And this is because your CV is no longer effective.
See, myself and Toby are going to disagree now. So, Toby.
Look, can we not just blame the poor CV? So what you're saying about that is because digital job applications aren't working, that it's the fault of the CV.
No.
The fundamental thing of what a CV is it's a sales document.
Yes.
And the fundamental psychology is when you put a sales document in someone's hand, they are more likely to engage with whatever you're saying, whether they read what's on that piece of paper or not. It has a place, it has a functional market in people's minds that offers so much more than just a conversation without that entity.
Yeah, but that's what you said was a sales document, which means the sales document goes to the customer. In this case, the customer is your business unit head. He has to follow policies and procedures, which goes to HR. HR then relegates that hiring process to the most junior person in the HR, which is usually a junior recruiter person who doesn't really have very much experience with that particular business line. And then they are sifting through your CVs just based on buzzwords or keywords, and that's where it dies out. So in fact, if it is a sales document, that sales document never making it in the hands of a customer.
So what you're talking about is you're talking about the process. You're talking about the job seeking process where you email a CV into someone, and that's the process. Don't blame the CV. That's the process. If you're doing what you're meant to do, you're getting yourself in front of the person that's going to make a decision. When you're having that meeting, it's still a very good idea to put a CV in front of them.
When you have the meeting, but the problem is you're not getting the meetings. What's happening with the candidates, they're complaining they're not getting that interview. And so what's also happening now is that business unit hiring manager, what you're calling the customer, they're getting bombarded with sales documents. So they're getting 1,000 CVs. So they're just pushing that back down to HR, who then again pushes that down to the most junior person and say, file through this. Out of the 10,000, bring me the top.
I think the question is the CV still relevant? And the answer from your perspective, Tobes, is yes. I think it is a verifiable crutch for employers and for recruiters, because you walk into a meeting and I would say most clients haven't prepared before they go and see a candidate. So what they do is 20 minutes before they look at the CV, because it's there, it's an easy one document, they can look at their experience and they form their question making from that document. I could be doing our clients a great disservice, but I know that I've seen clients do that when I've interviewed with them. So I think my bit is not about the CV, it's about how do you start looking for a role prior to actually looking for a role. Exactly.
I mean, I think the thing is people think the purpose of the CV is to get a meeting. And so if your strategy or your motive is to get a meeting, you don't actually need the CV to get that meeting, right?
True.
And the other thing is that people will spend more time looking at your LinkedIn profile, your digital social media profile, than they will reading your CV.
See, I think this is a very good point. LinkedIn is, let's face it, it's the one place that people go as a one-stop shop when they're looking for a role, because some of the job boards have failed to be as relevant these days, but LinkedIn is a community. So I think what LinkedIn does, and you shouldn't write all of your experience in your LinkedIn profile, you should give a summary, because I keep saying LinkedIn is like an hors d'oeuvre, it's the taster before the main course. The main course is when you go in and see the client and you present your skills and what you're good at doing. I think LinkedIn gives the client an idea of what you can do and what you've done in the past.
I think it's also getting poisoned in a sense that these referrals that are on LinkedIn are bogus and everybody's just giving each other good referrals.
Really?
Yeah, I think to a point you have to really take what's written on LinkedIn as, with a grain of salt. But if you have a YouTube video where someone's being interviewed or someone's talking, I think that's much more authentic.
So, okay, do you think that clients are more likely to interview you if you send them a CV or you send them a video CV?
I don't know anyone who's using video CVs.
Yeah, video CV is a good thing, but not a video CV as in just you talking about your experience for a video CV, because we're all time stuff. But here's the great thing about the traditional CV that everyone's so down on is, and you talked about it before, is we basically create our interview strategy from that CV.
Yeah.
The reason you do that is the most efficient way of getting a lot of information across that the client wants to know in a short period of time is having it right there. And the good CV means we can select the information we want, and then we know where the gaps are that we need to formulate. And it is literally the most powerful and easy and efficient way of getting the information you need from the piece of paper into the employer's mind. So that's where it's still entirely relevant. I love the video CV, but I love it as a video introduction in the top right-hand side of the CV that you click on, because all of a sudden it turns this kind of blank piece of, or this kind of humanless piece of paper. It gives it humanity, it gives it personality.
Absolutely.
It makes it harder to reject.
So you've just finally, now we've been waiting for this for years, Toby's just admitted the written CV is dying.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
Not in
actually,
any
I
way
agree.
have I.
See, do you know the Olive, the Interns ME company that do interns basically? They do. So we subscribe to their station, and we basically wanted to find a couple of interns, and all of their CVs are video CVs. They're literally 30 seconds long. It gives you a feel for them, what they look like, how they come across. And some of the people that had CVs, we did a comparison. We took their CVs and read them, selected our shortlist. Then we looked at the videos.
Oh, you did an experiment.
The videos came across a lot better because it gave, as you said, a three-dimensional view of the individual, how they presented themselves. The CVs weren't necessarily the best. The two people we hired, the two we got from the...
So this video CV selection was different than the paper selection.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If you're anything other than above a graduate, you're not gonna get enough information out of a video unless it's 5 minutes long. Now imagine getting 500 applications and trying to discern which one ends up in the 20 shortlist, the 20-man shortlist that you're going to end up going through. So there's a place for. There's definitely a place for that. There's a place for both. For example, one of the things I want employers in the Middle East and beyond to start hiring more based on personality than simply CV points.
Absolutely.
So we're engaging and we're using a technology company in the Netherlands that can actually measure positivity in a human being based on these points of interaction in their face.
Do you want positivity though?
So, for example,
Says
customer
the
service.
non-positive person here.
Yeah, it's paranoid people survive, right? You definitely don't want your
How am I not positive? I'm positive.
No,
I'm
you
absolutely
are.
positive.
I think you are.
Anyway, guys, we gotta wrap this. So there you go. The CV could be dying. These guys are preferring video CVs and positivity, personality, all kinds of changes happening here. This is Almost Live. I'm your host, Shane Phillips.